Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? So I like to discuss this. So it was like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and I'm like talking to this woman from Australia, and I'm thinking, hours later, just a few hours later, this poem comes back to me because it seems to sum up everything. She organizes a group of women in their 40s and 50s who have been through a divorce. And I'm thinking about divorce is really a dream deferred. You get married, you built your hopes high, like you think you're going to have a family, you're going to raise your children, and you're going to be happy ever after. I mean, doesn't society build up, doesn't Hollywood prepare us for happily ever after? And then something happens. Reality hits you. You married an asshole. And you can't do anything with an asshole. You married a narcissist. You can't do anything with a narcissist. And you yourself have qualities. I mean, it's not like you're perfect. It's not like you're a perfect person. You take two imperfect people and you get an explosion. And then you've got the kids in between, and it's a nightmare. So the dream turns into a nightmare. You're sitting in a beautiful landscape, flowers, a faithful dog, and you're just not happy because your dream is deferred. Your dream is drying up like a raisin in the sun. It festers like a sore, and it's about to explode. And I just had a moment out there when somebody was pushing all my buttons, is screaming at me, the dog. And, you know, this is a country where people don't really respect the law too much. Whether it's traffic, whether it's the demonstrations, that it's kind of seems absurd to me that in a country where people, yes, built a fire in a main junction and block roads and do whatever violent act they want in the name of demonstration and just do so many, they don't respect the other person's space. They just drive on the sidewalks with bicycles and electrical bikes, and they just almost run you over. And then you go to the beach and your dog steps over the little border of dog beach and whatever, and you get screamed at and yelled at. And it just seems unfair that life is like that. But then I remember why her name is Shiva and about Bindi. And I want to bring people a healing for these kind of situations where your dream is deferred, where it festers like a sore. There's a Bindi. It's a concept in Hinduism, the third eye between your eyebrows. And there you focus your attention. That's your third eye that goes inwards. And however beautiful the landscape is, and it's a beautiful landscape, beautiful ocean, people like, not only Langston Hughes, but I have another person I admire. It's Jean-Paul Sartre, the famous French philosopher of existentialism, who said, hell is the other person. You know, you could sit in a paradise and still your past comes flowing back to you. You see a beautiful yellow butterfly and you still think, oh my gosh, I had a horrible marriage. Oh my gosh, I don't have good friends. Oh my gosh, I have a horrible employer. Or my future looks so vague and unclear, and my past is so scary. And why is my life not happier? Why is my life not a Hollywood dream? And then you realize that there's the Bindi. You focus your attention on the third eye, you breathe, and you meditate, and you focus. That's what I tell the dog also. You focus on your inside. You don't look around you, and you don't bring up the past. You don't regurgitate all the past. And that's the source of all our sorrow, is regurgitating the past. And you go to a therapist, and you talk about the past, of course, and you think to heal, but it doesn't work like that. One sentence I got from TikTok last week that I really would tattoo on my arm if I believed in tattoos. And I will end with this. The life in front of you is more important than the life in, in the past of you or in the back of you. The life in the past is not as important as the life ahead of you. You still have life. Every day is a new beginning. And it's really hard to recover from the trauma of the past, but it's possible. And yes, poetry really helps, because Langston Hughes comes from a horrible life of the African people in America. They were brought into America as slaves. They were tortured. They were abused. And this goes in your DNA. Yes, that's what this amazing Australian woman called Ingrid said. It's in our DNA. I have a lot of abuse in my DNA from being a Jew of European ancestry. I suffered what my ancestry suffered: pogroms and Holocaust and anti-Semitism and being called names, and just living in Europe. My kids were told horrible things, and living in Israel with all this turmoil of people really not getting along. And it's not the Arabs and the Jews, it's the Jews that don't get along with each other. And it's so sad that people are not kinder. And I expect women to be nice to me because we're both women. Why aren't women nicer to me? I ask myself. But the problem is, I ask the wrong people, maybe the wrong question also. If you want to be employed by a person, don't talk about your past. Don't bring up the fact that you've had a bad experience, because that doesn't work like that. People all have a lot of baggage. And when you meet people with baggage, you don't know what the person has been through, and they don't want to look in the mirror. They don't want to see the abuse that they've been through in your eyes. So when you meet somebody, a future employer, a future friend, you have to put the past behind you. I wanted to make another video about it, but I really have to talk about something. I met a woman I hadn't seen for 35 years. When I met her, last time I met her, I had my whole future in front of me. I was going to Jerusalem to study, and I was so excited. I was going to study biology because I'm always interested in animals, and here I am sitting in nature. This is my life. And she knitted me a scarf. She was a friend of my sister's. She wasn't a very accomplished woman. She was just a secretary, sorry to say it. She wasn't educated, and she was so kind. And then I met her 35 years later, and she's like, "Oh, whatever happened to your mother's apartment?" And I'm like, "Excuse me? You're asking me about my mother's apartment? Whatever happened to your grandmother's apartment?" And it's like, hello? "You were so beautiful. You had such long hair." I have very short hair now. "You were so beautiful." And then I mumble, "Well, I'm still okay looking." And then I think, "Oh, you were so beautiful." And then I wrote her, "When you meet me, why are you asking me what about an apartment?" And then I realized a lot of people here sadly live in this very, very limited world of how much money do you have in the bank? Do you have a husband? You don't have a husband? She has a husband, and she feels like she's on the top of the world because she has a husband. We don't know what kind of relationship she has with her husband. Just simply the fact that she's married, she already feels she's on top. Because in Hebrew, Nesu'ah means above. Grusha means, sadly, tragically, grusha, divorced. The Hebrew word for divorced is somebody chased you away. It's hard for me to find the right English translation. Grusha is that somebody chased you away, or threw you away, abandoned, I don't know. And married is above. Somebody lifted you up. And it's so sad because, yes, divorce is a trauma. It is a dream deferred. But guess what? So is marriage. I remember taking a course in psychology. After biology didn't work out, I studied psychology. I have a degree in psychology from the Hebrew University. And we had an amazing professor of gender studies at a time where people didn't talk about it. And you know who are the most miserable people in the world, according to statistics that she conducted? Married women. Married women and single men. Married women and single men are the most miserable. So why do we have this dream that if we're married, we're so happy, the hand in hand walking into the sunset? Why do we have this dream? I don't know, but you know, we can dream other dreams. Look, life can be such a beautiful experience if we only leave the baggage and just live the moment. And this is what meditation is all about. And I'm so happy I studied yoga, Shivananda, which is why she's called Shiva. Just sit here, focus on your bindi, on your third eye, close your eyes, or open your eyes and concentrate on your breathing, on in and out, and realize that you can live the moment and you can have new dreams that don't fester like a sore, and you can have new people coming in your life, and sometimes you just have to stop. Don't let people who irritate you in your life, because they're never going to not irritate you. Because if a person hurts you, if they're not sensitive to your feelings, I mean, a person who says to you, oh, you used to be so beautiful, or what happened to your parents' apartment, is not a person you really want to let in the door. The people I want to let in the door, people that love poetry and music and nature and animals and music. These are the kind of people, in art. People that realize that this is what makes our life gorgeous and beautiful and happy. It's the music, it's nature, it's sitting here and breathing, it's being healthy and being grateful and having an attitude of gratitude and letting in people that have that kind of attitude. Not people that are interested how much money you have in the bank, what is your status, marital status, but people that really look inside you, people that are also have focusing on the bindi, on the third eye, and that sit in nature and say, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful flower. I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so lucky to be alive.